Okay, so you decide to get tattooed. You're like 16. You get tattooed, and then so how do you transition from that to saying like, okay, I want a tattoo? Or did you get heavily tattooed in like your as you were a teenager, or you were in your 20s, or
No, I started
how
getting.
did it go for you
I started getting heavily tattooed in my 20s.
in your 20s?
Yeah,
Were you going to a studio? Or were you doing it out of a crib,
I was doing it out of a crib.
out of a house?
Which I say, don't do it again. Don't do
it
that.
again. So did you have any issues with that?
Actually, the artwork was pretty good.
The artwork was
Yeah,
good?
so I kept coming back. The artwork was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about, did you get any issues with like something getting infected?
No.
Or, you never had any issues with
No,
that?
the artist I had worked before at a pretty reputable shop here in Miami,
Okay.
and yeah, he just started tattooing out of his house.
He just decided like I'm done paying commission or whatever.
Yeah, for reasons I have no idea
Yeah.
of. He just decided not to start tattooing out of his house.
Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, I just started going with him and became friends with him. He was doing pretty decent work, and yeah, got 2 sleeves out of him.
Wow. So is that how you involved yourself in the tattooing world? Like that's what those experiences with this guy was what led you to say like this is something I want to try? Or
Yeah, it inspired me to give it a try. Yeah. And
Was
I
he
hated my job
teaching
at the time.
Was he teaching you?
No. I majority of the stuff I learned on my own online, and then I just refined it with the people that I started meeting that were in that field.
But were you at the time when you were working with him, were you asking him questions or anything?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
I asked him
You were
questions.
just inquisitive, right?
That, and I'm a very like visual person at the same time. So like
Yeah.
I like to I learn as like watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner.
Me too. When I started getting tattooed, I did the same thing. The guy that I was tattooing me, which I got so lucky, bro. He was an apprentice, like 2 years in, but he was good. Like this guy was really good, and I just remember like just watching him, asking him a lot of questions, and I was just being curious. At the time, I didn't even know I wanted to tattoo, but I was just curious, So I would just ask him a bunch of questions, and by the time that I started, I almost like I was very natural in the way that I was like moving around, and I understood what I was doing.
Yeah, you weren't going in too blind.
Yeah, I wasn't going in too blind, bro. So so you start getting heavily tattooed by this guy, and you were what were you doing for work?
I was working for a company called Seaboard, and I was working like in the little accounting department, just paying bills and shit like that, and
Okay.
And then I just started getting heavily tattooed because I was trying to get fired.
That's cool.
Hey, they didn't fire me. I had to quit.
So is that something you went to school for, or did you train?
No, they trained me there.
They trained you there?
Yeah, they trained me there.
Okay, so you're just doing the bookkeeping and all that stuff,
Basically,
right?
yeah.
Okay, and you hated it.
I hated it.
Like, there's so many
I think I did
people
like 3 years of that, and I hated it.
There's so many people out there that are like that, bro. Like, I get clients here, and I'm sure you get them too, that they want to get out. They want to... I had a girl recently, she was my client. She asked me for an apprenticeship, and I gave it to her. I was like, sure, just come in. I was like, help me out with the content, like help me out record, like hold the phone while I'm recording content and stuff like that. That's all I wanted from her, bro. Because I don't believe in the whole like exploiting people to teach them or whatever. And she just gave up, bro. She just gave up. And I wish she didn't, bro, because she had such an opportunity, man. But tattooing is not easy, man. Tattooing is not easy. And I think some people, it's not safe. It's what I mean by that is like, I feel like some people feel more comfortable getting that like steady paycheck and knowing that, that they can get paid or whatever, as opposed to like something like now you basically you're your own boss.
It takes a lot of discipline to be on top of yourself.
It takes discipline, bro.
It takes discipline. There's a lot of work in being a tattoo artist. It's not just tattooing. It's finding your clientele, working on your social media, working on your art, your photography, your designs. Yeah. It's everything.
No, and
it's overwhelming sometimes.
And it's particularly harder for people who are older. Because, for example, when I started, I was lucky enough that I was 19, right? No, I was 20. So, I moved out of my house. I moved out of my mom's house, and I moved out of my mom's house. I was living on my own, and that's when I got my tattoo machine. I got into some trouble because I was selling drugs, selling weed. But yeah, I was selling drugs.
That don't count. No, I'm kidding.
I was selling drugs. And so I went to jail, and that was like a big wake-up call for me. And I was like, no, I'm going to go full into tattooing. So I go back home. But I have, my parents didn't have a lot, but I had a roof. I have food. I didn't have to pay bills. So I had support. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that if you're young and you want to start tattooing, like, do it now while you have the support of your family, because as you get older it gets harder.
Priorities.
Because now you gotta pay bills. Maybe you have a kid, maybe you have to pay child support, you gotta pay bills, you gotta do all this stuff, and on top of that you want to learn how to tattoo. And tattooing, you gotta tattoo every day. You got, not only are you tattooing every day, you gotta learn. You gotta be on YouTube watching content like this. You gotta be reading books. I read a ton of books when I was like learning and stuff. So seminars, this, that, and then you gotta learn to deal with clients, get clients, market yourself. So it really is like a lot. It can be overwhelming, especially for somebody who doesn't have support. Not to say that it's not possible. I feel like if you want something in life, you can get it. Because like, for example, me in the situation that I'm in right now, I'm a single dad of 3 kids. So I have them every week, 2 days out of the week, right? So I literally have 5 days out of the week in which I have to do everything that I have to do in those 5 days, anything that I need to do professionally. So that includes like content, tattooing, business, learning, studying, reading, like all of it.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I gotta work out. You know what I mean?
Take care of yourself.
I can't have a girlfriend. I can't have but you know what I mean? Like and I'm doing it. You know what I mean? And I have the peace of mind and tranquility that it might take me a little bit longer than someone who doesn't have kids or someone who has support, but I'm gonna get there regardless. Yeah. So you start tattooing, right? So that was right around when we met, right? What did you do? Did you just went online and bought supplies? Like, what was from saying, okay, I want a tattoo, to now I have these tools in front of my run me through that. Run me through that story.
It started with me being really interested in it first off. So I decided to go online, obviously like YouTube, learn. But before all that, I wanted to really like learn about like the machine itself. So I decided to like get a little beard trimmer and take it apart, and I built myself like a little jailhouse tattoo machine.
Oh, wow.
Which it worked. It worked good and everything. I never used it on myself, but it worked.
It would be cool to make a video about
I want to. I was talking about that in the shop the other day.
Let's make a video on it.
Like, we go to CVS, buy some beard trimmers, make it, and do a tattoo out of it.
Let's make it happen.
I'm down with that.
Okay, cool.
But, yeah, man. And yeah, I built my first machine out of a beard trimmer, and I don't know, it just got me really, started. So then I bought some coil machines off of Amazon. I saw that the best way online is to start like the old school way.
How much were they?
I bought like a whole set. I think it came like 2 machines, a shader and a liner for like, I think like $100 or something like that.
Was it one of those like crappy Chinese?
Yeah, and was it? Yeah, it was like, it was crappy.
It was crappy, right?
Yeah, they were crappy machines.
Yeah, I started with those.
Yeah, fucking the first line you put in just blows out. Yeah, that's.
And those started.
Yes, but it taught me like how to tune a crappy machine. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, how to tune it, how to mix it. How does it work? How to set up the needle bar and.
Yeah. You know what's a game changer for me? When I learned, and I can't remember who taught me this, that you could get a nail file. You needed a nail file, and you had to file between the spring and the contact screw. Did you ever do that?
No.
Oh, bro, that's why it was stuttered, because so it builds carbon, like from the movement. The tip of the screw, it starts getting darker from the carbon, and then you lose contact. So what I would do is like, you know, say I was tattooing and I would take a break. You take this little, like a needle file, one of those like metal needle files.
Yeah.
And you just file between the screw and the spring. You put it there and you file it, bro, and it's like super clean. It runs like
I smooth. Didn't know that. That's interesting.
Bro, fucking crazy trick.
I'm not gonna lie, I do like using coils.
Yeah.
Rarely, but I do like them.
You still use them?
Rarely, but really? I like them. Yeah, it's just nostalgic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I got the first coil machine that I ever touched, bro.
I still have mine, yeah. My crappy ones.
Well, it was actually before that, because it was a friend of mine who he was tattooing from home. I may have been maybe 18, 19. He was a little older. He was, you know, getting into tattooing. And he had me grab his machine and go over like some letters that he had on his arm. So I was like the very first experience that I had. It was terrible. And you know, years later he was like, yo, I'm gonna send you something, and he sent me
the machine
I had.
Oh, dope. That's cool.
Yeah.